Hi guys, Ian here. Welcome back to the channel, and today we are taking a look at something that honestly made me double look at what I saw at the spec sheet. And I want you guys to imagine driving a massively power hungry planar and or dynamic headphone, you know, the kind that usually requires expensive, heavy, dedicated desktop amplifier to wake it up. Now, what if I told you that you could get a staggering 4,600 milliamps of power per channel for just 60 US dollars? Well, no, this is not a clickbait, and I haven't lost my mind. And what you're looking at is the brand new FiiO Jadeaudio Gigas 1, which is a desktop headphone amplifier. So I've tested this for about 2 weeks now, and I'm going to share with you guys my thoughts and opinions about this Gigas 1. So let's begin first with the accessories. Now, as for accessories, there isn't much to talk about, and that's by design. FiiO and Jadeaudio have stripped the packaging down to the bare essentials to keep the cost very low. Now, inside the plain cardboard box, you get the Gigas 1 amplifier, basic quick start guide, a warranty card, and a USB Type-C power cable. There is no power adapter included in the box. Normally, I would deduct some points for this, but given the absolute bargain basement price for this, the fact that most of us have a drawer overflowing with USB power bricks, I'm willing to give it a pass. Now, as we will discuss later, the type of power brick you supply actually dictates how the Gigas 1 performs, which is one of its coolest party trick. Alright, so let's talk about the design and build quality. Now, aesthetically, the Gigas 1 is not going to win any modern art awards. It's a very utilitarian, almost DIY kit box kind of vibe to it. It's extremely compact, measuring just 132 by 60 by 40 millimeters and weighing in at a mere 210 grams. You could easily tuck this under a monitor or hide it behind your keyboard without eating up valuable desktop real estate. Now, the chassis is constructed from aluminum and is available in 3 anodized finishes: black, silver, and green. I have the black version here, and I will warn you right now, it is a bit of a fingerprint magnet. So if you're obsessed about smudges, you might want to take a look at the silver or the green variants. Now, the finishing on the metal is pretty decent, but it's not luxurious. FiiO hasn't meticulously chamfered every edge. Some of the corners are a little bit sharp and the construction feels somewhat raw. But honestly, it is a metal enclosure that acts as a solid heatsink for the massive power inside, so I really cannot complain. Now, the absolute star of the show when it comes to the design is the massive top-mounted analog volume knob. Now, this thing is huge relative to the chassis, the body I mean, and I absolutely love it. It sits flat on top of the device, making it incredibly ergonomic to reach over and adjust without even looking at it. Now, surrounding the base of the knob are 60 wide painted volume position indicators and a very clean power LED ring. The knob rotation is buttery smooth with no stepped indents, providing excellent granular control over your volume. Crucially, because this is a proper analog implementation, I did not experience any dreaded low volume channel imbalance that plagues so many budget amplifiers. Alright, so now let's talk about connectivity, because Jadeaudio actually packed a really thoughtful feature in here that gamers are going to love. Now, on the back of the unit, you have your power input, a single USB Type-C port, and next to that, you have 2 analog inputs, a standard RCA input, and a 3.5mm single-ended line input. Now remember, this is purely an amplifier. It is not a DAC amp combo. You will need to feed it an analog signal from a dedicated DAC, be it your computer, your MacBook, a CD player, or even a basic dongle. And going to the other side of the unit, you got 2 output options, a single-ended 3.5mm and a 4.4 balanced output jack. But here is the kicker. The 3.5mm headphone jack supports CTIA compliant microphone pass-through. Now this is a massive win for desktop gamers. So if you're using a gaming headset like the FiiO FG3 or even a beloved audiophile gaming staple like the Sennheiser PC38X, you can plug the 4-pole 3.5mm cable directly into the Gigas One, and it will amplify the headphone drivers with its discrete circuitry while effortlessly passing your microphone signal straight back to your source device, for example your PC. So it bridges the gap between raw audiophile power and practical multimedia gaming, meaning you don't have to choose between a good microphone setup and a high fidelity audio output. Alright, so let's get nerdy and talk about what makes the Gigas One truly special. Now inside this little rectangular box is a discrete Class AB transistor current amplifier design. Now it utilizes a hybrid architecture combining operational amplifiers, in short op-amps, with high current discrete transistors. Now specifically, FiiO has packed in 4 on semiconductors, MJE243G and 4 MJE253G, which are classic power transistors. Now this is the kind of robust circuitry you normally see in much larger, far more expensive desktop amplifiers. But the real magic trick here is the adaptive power input. Now the output capability of the Gigas One is entirely dependent on the power brick you give it. Now if you use a standard 5V 2A phone charger, for example, the Gigas One operates in its base mode. Now in 5V mode, the 4.4mm balanced output gives you a very respectable 790 milliwatts of power per channel at 16 ohms or 580 milliwatts of power at 32 ohms. Now for standard IEMs and efficient dynamic driver headphones, this is more than enough. However, if you plug it into a PD, which is power delivery 12V 2A fast charger, this little kit box completely transforms the voltage increase dramatically, upscaling the internal amplification limits, and in this 12V high gain mode, the balanced output pushes a mind-boggling 4,600 milliwatts of power per channel at 32 ohms. Now even at a staggering 300 ohms, it pushes out 740 milliwatts of power. Now to put this into perspective, there are like $200, $300, even $500 amplifiers in the market right now that cannot crack the 2-watt barrier. Now getting nearly 5 watts of Class AB power for this price is completely market disruptive. Now it allows budget-conscious audiophiles to properly drive notoriously difficult planar, magnetic or dynamic headphones without taking out a second mortgage. So it has the power of a small sun, but does it sound like a chaotic mess? Amazingly, no. The FiiO Jadeaudio Gigas One sounds incredibly refined. Now if I had to describe the overall timbre of the Gigas One in just one word, it would be truthful. This is not an amplifier that attempts to heavily color your music. Now it operates with a wire with gain philosophy, getting out of the way and letting your DAC and your headphones dictate the flavor of the sound. So let's talk about the bass response. The Gigas One does not add any artificial bass boost or warmth. What it does provide, however, is immense control. Now because of the discrete high current design and excellent damping factor, the bass attack is incredibly fast and the recovery is lightning quick. Now when you pair this with a planar magnetic headphone, bass drops has a visceral physical weight to them. The amplifier grips the drivers with authority. Now if your headphones are capable of reaching to the bottom octave, the Gigas One will push them there without a hint of distortion or flabbiness, even at aggressively high volumes. Now as for the mid-range, it maintains a high, neutral, clean and transparent character. It doesn't push vocals artificially forward, nor does it recess them into a V shape. There is an open, natural aspect to the mids and makes acoustic instruments and vocal harmonies sound authentic. Now, because it's so neutral, it acts as a perfect magnifying glass for your source equipment. So if you feed it a warm analog sounding DAG, you will hear that warmth. If you feed it a hyper analytical ESS based DAG, the Gigas One will pass that clinical precision straight to your ears. And lastly, let's talk about the treble. It's surprisingly refined for a budget solid state amplifier. A lot of cheap high powered amps tend to sound searing, chiseled, or brittle in the upper frequencies. FiiO has managed to avoid that entirely. Now, the Gigas One presents an airy, detailed treble personality that never feels strained or overly bright. It captures the shimmer of cymbals and the breathiness of female vocals without introducing harshness or sibilance. Now let's talk about background noise and dynamics, and perhaps the most impressive aspects of the Gigas One's sound performance is its noise floor. Now at 4600 milliwatts, you would expect a hiss when nothing is playing, right? But the Gigas One is dead silent. I plugged in highly sensitive IEMs just to torture test the noise floor, and I could barely detect any static or background hiss during the operation. And also the dynamic range is fantastic. The amp effortlessly swings from dead quiet passages to thunderous orchestral crescendos without breaking a sweat. Now it behaves beautifully at both low-level listening and deafening volumes. So what's the use of this Gigas One? Now FiiO has openly stated that the inspiration for creating the Gigas One was their own JT7 planar magnetic headphone. Planars typically have lower sensitivity and crave for current and power. When paired with the JT7 or other demanding planars like the Hi-Fi-Man Sundaras or the Moondrop Para, the Gigas One shines brilliantly. Now it wakes up the planar drivers, unlocking their true soundstage width, imaging capabilities, and bass slam. But as I mentioned earlier, the inclusion of that 3.5mm microphone pass-through makes it a killer pairing with gaming headsets. Now, using it with something like the FiiO FG3 gaming headset creates an ultimate budget desktop battle station. You get pristine, high-quality current amplification for your gaming audio, making footsteps, gunshots, and atmospheric cues pop with incredible dynamic range, while still being able to hop on Discord and chat with your teammates seamlessly. Alright, so let's wrap this up. And is the FiiO Jadeaudio Gigas One the perfect amplifier? Well, I wouldn't say yes. It doesn't have a built-in DAC, so you will need a separate source. The chassis design is a bit rough around the edges, feeling more like a DIY project than a polished premium product. Now, the black version loves fingerprints, and yes, you do have to supply your own 12-volt power brick. But let's get real for a second. We are talking about a desktop amplifier that costs just $60 Now, for the price of a couple of pizzas, you're getting a fully discrete Class AB transistor current amplifier, and you're getting an incredibly smooth top-mounted analog volume knob that feels fantastic to use. You're getting balanced and single-ended outputs, microphone pass-through for gamers, and a dynamic power scaling system that delivers a completely absurd 4600 milliwatts of clean, uncolored, distortion-free power. Now, the Gigas One truly is that little giant that could, and it completely redefines what we should expect from entry-level audio gear. And if you are an audiophile starting out and you just bought your first pair of hard-to-drive planar magnetic headphones or dynamic headphones, or if you are a gamer looking for a massive audio upgrade without losing your microphone functionality, well, the Gigas One is an absolute no-brainer. It is, without a doubt, one of the best value-to-performance products that I have tested this entire year. Now, FiiO and Jadeaudio have thrown down the gauntlet with this one, and I honestly don't know how the competition is going to respond. But that's just my take. I want to hear from you guys. Are you planning to pick up the Gigas One? What headphones would you pair with this 4.6 watts of cheap, clean power? Let me know down in the comments below. Alright, Alright, so that's it for my overall thoughts and opinions about this FiiO Jadeaudio Gigas 1. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and also please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. My name's Ian. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in my next video. Cheers.